Welcome to the Storm Chasing Forecast Show. I am Gabriel Harber. I'm here with junior coach Stephen Cross, and it is Tuesday, June 2nd. Stephen, how you doing, my man?
How's it going, Gabe?
Wonderful, and we are here to talk with folks today about the storm chasing potential in, drumroll please, Texas. I know you guys might have been fooled there because we had the high plains up on the screen, but Stephen, tell them what they've won.
Yeah. So if you're storm chasing tomorrow, I'd recommend targeting North Texas if you want to see me, because we could get some convection down here. Got practically no shear. Looks absolutely horrid. That's just the worst. It looks like
That's
my
not even a
cat.
hodograph. That's a
No,
notograph. That's
looks
a
like
notograph.
like one of those little yarn balls that my cat plays with. It's just terrible. But should be some fun along I-35 here. We should get some convection along some remnant alpha boundaries, perhaps some gravity waves as they progress southward. Maybe some convective temperatures breached. We could get some nice little pop-ups. But if you don't feel like taking the trek to the northern plains, come meet me along I-35 and we can have a blast.
Wonder if anyone will actually take you up on that, Stephen.
Probably nobody.
All right. So, jokes aside, we do have a slight risk with, I believe at this present time, it's a 2% tornado probability
Yeah.
up in the high plains. Tell me what you're seeing out there.
Yeah, so we should have a nice belt of 500 millibar flow, about 35 to 50 knots coming across into the northern plains here. And that should help to deepen our surface low. It's not going to be a super deep surface low, but this surface low should meander from about northern Montana into Saskatchewan. It's not going to move around a whole lot, but that surface low should pull up some moisture in our risk area.
So, the stage is set with the surface low pulling that moisture up, but of course, the moisture quality is always what's most important. I know that you've noticed a discrepancy in between a couple of the models. Could you let people know exactly what you're seeing that is in disagreement for today?
So I've got wrap pulled up here. You can see the dew points get pulled up in the northern plains here, and I think wrap is really overdoing it. I don't think we're going to see 70s dew points. We could, but I was looking at the other models, and they're not even close to wrap. We could get some upper 60s for sure across the eastern part of the risk area, but towards the higher elevation, I think I'm more in line with what the HRRR is saying. We could get I'd say mid 50s to upper 50s, potentially low 60s dews up here in our main risk area, which is where I'm honing in from the Black Hills towards Rapid City and northward.
So, two things there, Stephen. Number one, if we see the wrap solution actually starting to verify at some point in the day, probably run, don't walk to get into position because this could definitely be an explosive setup if we get that much
Yeah.
moisture. But
Yeah.
also, if we're looking at various models, and of course, the WeatherFront browser app is what we are using right here to show the comparison between the models. If we're looking at different models and we see that most of them are in agreement and then there's a crazy outlier that's just showing something completely different, how do you usually handle a situation like that?
Yeah. So usually you want to look at where most models are trending. Some days you want to trust one model more than the other. I'm trending the HRRR more and all of the models that are in line with it. I think we're going to see lower moisture than the wrap is showing. So I'm not really trusting the wrap with how it's handling thermodynamics. And I actually want to take a look at the HRRR here. This is showing an earlier run. I think dew points have actually even uptrended from this run. You can see they're pretty low here. This is the 12Z morning run. We'll look at Z and a lot better. This is a lot better. Still not even close to what Rap was showing, but this is a much better look on HRRR here.
It strikes me as a very narrow area of quality moisture as well. So does that mean that if we do get a robust supercell up, its life may be short-lived, at least in terms of being able to tap into its full potential?
Yeah, so that's going to be the main concern for today is the longevity of surface-based supercells. I think we could see a fairly outflow or an outflow dominant mode fairly quickly. We'll take a forecast sounding here in these low 60s dews. And actually, I'm going to go back a bit because our time frame for discrete supercells, we'll go ahead and pull up SIMREF really quickly. You can see HRRR has these going at about 4 p.m. I like to take an hour off, always like to take an hour off of HRRR for what it's showing for convective initiation. So expect Storms to start developing by around 2 to 3 p.m. off the Black Hills here towards Rapid City northward, which is the main area we're watching for storm chasing potential. And you can see we get some supercells here, but they go upscale rather quickly, and that's likely due to the outflow dominant nature. We'll take a sounding ahead of this. And you can see moisture quality at the surface, not great. And we have some moisture aloft, so that's likely going to contribute to downdrafts that will likely result in some outflow dominant storms, which would kill any supercell tornado potential. But I think the potential is there. It's just going to be a short window, maybe 3, 4, 5 p.m. I think after that, it's really going to depend on if we can get one to sustain. But I'm leaning more towards an outflow dominant mode after that time frame.
Yeah, so some days you like to set up downstream and let the storms come to you. This might be a day to play it a little more aggressive because that window in which you can actually have something significant pop off is probably a little bit lower than you would normally have.
Yeah, and I still wouldn't rule out anything after that time frame. I know we saw tornadoes, several tornadoes last night in the risk area well after dark, I think towards 12 in the morning, and that's because we had a supercell that was sustaining. And as those surface temps cool, you can actually get lower cloud bases, you can get higher tornado potential. So we could, not saying I'm not ruling out any tornado potential after 5 p.m. I'm just thinking the main caveat is that it's going to go upscale and our tornado potential will decrease, but it's not zero. We could still see a sustained supercell, especially if we get higher moisture, maybe low 60s, even mid 60s. I think there's a good chance we get a nice photogenic surface-based supercell with tornado potential. I think those cards are definitely there. But again, leaning more towards outflow dominance.
There's also a good chance that all of you who are watching this show right now are going to have the opportunity to try out the WeatherFront browser app that we are using because last night, as of about 8 p.m. Eastern Time at weatherfront.com, that browser app has become available for everyone. So if you have iOS, you've got the mobile app, you should be able to link that to the browser app and start using it. Android users, just wait a few more days, maybe a week or two more, and that is going to be in the palm of your hands as well. So we've got our moisture potential in place, but of course that has to translate into convective available potential energy that can actually be used by storms. So where do we see our instability sitting for this setup today?
Yeah, so we should have a nice layer of cold air aloft that's coming in from this mid-level disturbance, and that should foster a good amount of instability across our risk area. I think 1,500 to 2,500 joules per kilogram of MLCAPE is a good threshold. That's perfectly fine for severe thunderstorms and supercells. But our best overlap of wind shear and instability is going to be just east of the Black Hills here, north of Rapid City. I think that's going to be the best shot for a photogenic sustained supercell in this area here.
And I see that kind of lines up with what we were looking at for that narrow band of the best moisture
Yeah.
overlaid across that little region as well. So if models and observations and everything continue to converge, that seems like it's going to be the place to party this evening or afternoon.
Yeah, that is going to be our main target for an all hazards risk. And we do have other areas, and that is something that I wanted to touch on. If you like to avoid the crowds, you can see we have some supercell potential up here in North Dakota. My main caveat was that with that is going to be the early morning storms. You can see we're going to have stuff ongoing up there, and that could put a wrench in the forecast up there. But I still think we could see some supercells up there with maybe some low tornado potential. But it's going to be a lot of the same issues that we're seeing down here. Those inverted V profiles, potentially outflow dominant, messy storm modes. I think down here looks a little bit better, just instability and shear, the overlap. But we could see some stuff up here for sure, some supercell structures.
Now, everything we have been discussing so far is pretty far up north. What about the chasers who are down in the central or southern plains? Is there anything they can get out and see today if they don't have the ability or the time to actually travel that far north?
Yeah, so you could always join me down here in North Texas, as we mentioned. I'll see you guys at Bucky's along I-35. But if you don't feel like visiting me for whatever reason, we will have a play up here in the Dust Bowl area, Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma Panhandle, Southeast Colorado, Kansas, this area. We could see some storms develop here, and as well as along the Front Range in Colorado. But these are going to be limited in strength. It's mainly going to be a damaging wind risk. You can see CIMRAF. These are really blobby and disorganized. That's because we don't have a whole lot of shear down here. I think it's better up here in Colorado, but yeah, it's not super great down here. There's hardly any shear at all to support supercells. So it's mainly going to be a multi-cell cluster mode down here with mainly a damaging wind, maybe some small hail. But if you want to go out, could be fun. If you don't want to go all the way up there to the northern plains, I love storms. I would get up there if I could. But I'll be down here in Dallas.
Or if you folks want to go to Disneyland, there is, of course, the Florida play. Actually, it's Disney World in Florida, not Disneyland. I remember having to figure out that distinction when I was younger. But yeah, if you're wanting to go to Disney World, look at that. I think, yeah, Orlando is barely in that wind risk right there.
Yeah.
It's a small world after all, Stephen.
Yeah. So we could see a damaging wind risk over here in Florida, Georgia, Alabama. Very low risk, very typical. So if you want to go all the way to Florida, go for it.
Remember to check out those links in the description below, and then watch another video.